hey, good job working with that client. They were very difficult. They've been there. You know how hard it is. Right? It's going to lead to improved job satisfaction. You're not going to be in that 61% of people who feel that they're just ignored the whole time that they're around. Right? And then it'll lead to higher retention rates, right? People don't want to go work for somebody who just ignores them all the time. They want to work for somebody who cares about what they're doing. So if we're praising people, right, and we're building an environment where they can learn, second or the third thing we got to touch on is accountability, right? And accountability is probably going to be the hardest thing for any of us to do. I know it's the hardest thing for me to do, right? When I get into a situation and something's gone wrong, it's going to cost me unrestricted funding, it's tough. A lot of us don't have a lot of unrestricted funding to just pull from to pay for everything. So first step is acknowledging mistakes with understanding. So we want people to make mistakes, because making mistakes means that they're learning. They're learning directly from their mistakes. But what we don't want to do is we don't want to get into a situation where we're punishing people for the mistakes they make. Because what's going to happen is you're not going to tell us the mistakes they're making. And then even worse, we're going to find out in a monitoring event, fiscal auditing event, some type of event that's going to be much more serious than if they just bring it to me when it happens, right? So we acknowledge their mistakes with some understanding and say, okay, we're sympathetic, we're empathetic to your needs. And then we do a little reinforcing and learning from those mistakes. So you made a mistake, it's okay, that's fine. Please don't ever make this mistake again with a little bit of cross-training on why we can't make that mistake again. We'll put that out to the rest of the team. And then we'll go step in front of the sources that need to step in front of to take the pressure off them from making the mistake. That's where we lead into transparency, fostering mutual accountability. Right? We want to be accountable for our actions, but accountability rides with both the people in charge and the people who are doing the work. Right? So they did make a mistake, that's okay. We're okay with that. We're going to cross-train them not to make that mistake, but then we're going to go out and we're going to help ourselves in that problem for them. We're going to stand in front and say, yep, my staff made a mistake. I'm going to help find the unrestricted funding to pay for it. It's not the best thing in the world, but we're going to do it. And your staff are going to see that you're standing up there for them. You're not just saying, hey, it's all their fault. They screwed up. Because they're just going to leave you. You have to cross-train somebody who's going to come in, right? By doing those three things, you're going to emphasize that they have responsibility, you have responsibility. When you have responsibility, you're going to feel like you're part of the team, right? If you have no responsibility, you can't be part of the team. From my perspective. So, it's going to lead me to another story of my leadership experience. It's called the SIP House. You can hear my staff laughing. It's like we're all part of it. The SIP House. Okay. So early on in my career, I had an auditor who went to an audit and was running an energy audit. Okay. Part of an energy audit is running a blower door. If you don't know what a blower door is, you typically set up a large red door in your house. It's got a giant fan in front of it. And what we do is we open all the doors, close all the windows, and we suck as much air through that door to get a reading and see how tight the house is. So you can imagine, when you're running a blower door, that having a fireplace that's open is not a good idea. Right? Fireplace was open, auditor had run the blower door, had a whole bunch of stuff into the house. So auditor got out of their test, wrapped up, went home, and then we get a panic call from the homeowner. My baby's crawling with soot. There's soot in my living room. There's soot all over the furniture, there's soot all over the food, there's soot over everything. I need furniture, I need carpet, I need paint, I need all of it. And I can just see the dollar signs in my head right? That's thousands and thousands of dollars of stuff that they need. And how am I going to pay for that? Right? So there's good in every bad situation. So we quickly went to action, we took some pictures, documented everything that was going on, talked with the homeowner quite a bit. But a good thing that came out of it was talking with the homeowner. Right? So I'm talking with this homeowner and I said, hey, your fireplace used to be a wood fireplace. Somebody put a gas sensor in it and it didn't have a glass door. And I said, that to me sounds extremely dangerous. So we have a fireplace that's open to the house and no guarantee for the venting to go up. Looks like my slides are up. But we'll keep going. I don't know, the guy said that was dying earlier. So the fireplace was open. It used to be a wood fireplace. They had a gas insert installed before they bought the house. Some flipper installed that, and then they bought it. And I said, well, how often do you run this fireplace? And she said, I run it every day, 10 hours a day with the windows closed. And they've got, I think it was like 2 or 3 small children in the house, one for sure who can crawl. And I'm like, that scares me. I said, with what I know from energy audits, what I know from my HVAC days, you probably have a high potential for a lot of carbon dioxide in your house. I said, do you feel sick at any time? Do you feel dizzy? And they said, sometimes. And I said, okay. I said, well, the good that's coming out of the story is we're going to be able to address your fireplace. The bad is we kind of destroyed your house in the process. But even the repair wasn't that bad. You know, we called Service Masters, they came out, they fixed it for a couple $1,000. They cleaned all of their stuff. We agreed not to buy them food. Got them kind of set up in a SNAP program. But we got to get in there and we got to address the fireplace. Now, would we address the fireplace if soot didn't get sucked through? Maybe, maybe not. But I know after the problem, they're not at risk of their kidneys, or even worse, dying, right? So the big things that came out of it was a challenge for our team, right? Provided a very unique learning experience. I got to say to the staff, it's okay. Don't do it again, but it's okay. And then I got to go take the responsibility, right, for them, help them out. And then we all got to develop as individuals because of it. And then one thing I really want to touch base on, you know, a lot of times you'll hear people say, why is this happening to me? Why did this happen to me? And I like to try to tell people, ask, why is this happening for me? What is the good that's going to come out of this? The good in this instance was we got to fix the latest fireplace so that our kids didn't burn out of carbon dioxide poisoning. That leads into my next slide, which you can't see, but I can see. So, decision making and solution oriented thinking. Okay. So if we're praising people and we're showing them that they're doing a good job, they're feeling included, right? Their decisions matter, right? The second thing we're doing is we're holding them accountable in a way that is fostering a positive relationship, right? Praising you, it's okay to make a mistake. And I like to think of it as giving all the praise away, my staff are doing great. When stuff's going bad, I'm taking some of that blame off of them. It's okay to make mistakes, and you're doing well, great. So decision making and solution oriented thinking is the next thing that comes up. So we want to foster an environment where people come to us with solutions, not problems. Right? I think all too often in community action, you will get people that will bring you problems. They come to you and they say, this is wrong. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to handle this. What am I supposed to do with this person? And how many people in the room, when somebody comes to you with a problem, immediately gives them the answer? That's good. Sometimes I do. But we don't want to immediately give them the answer. Right? We want to ask them how they would like to solve the problem. Right? We're praising you, holding you accountable, and now we're giving you the ability to make decisions. So when they come to you and say, hey, this is wrong, you say, what do you want to do about it? And they'll give you an idea of what they want to do. And you say, well, is that within policy or is that within the rules of the system that we work in? And if the answer is yes, then great, we can do that. But then at the end of that, you typically will go to somebody and say, hey, next time you have an issue, bring me 2 solutions instead of 1. And that's going to promote solution-oriented thinking. Right? It means that now your staff are going out. They feel appreciated, so they're not the 61% that don't feel acknowledged. They have an accountability structure that they can live off of. And now they're starting to critically think about the solutions that are at hand. So they're coming to answers, right? So every time they show up at your door, they're like, hey, I found this problem. These are the 2 things I want to do about it. Can we talk about it? That conversation happens much faster than, hey, this is wrong, and now I have to be the go-to guy to answer the question all the time. Right? And what that's going to do is going to foster independent decision making, right? Which is exactly what we want. If you want somebody to feel included, make them have a decision. Make them have some skin in the game. It's okay to make a mistake, but at least you're making decisions. Right? Because I can't be everywhere, and I can't make decisions for everybody. And the last part of that is you have to value value their input. So when they come to you with ideas, you have to seriously listen to them, and you have to be willing to implement them. Right? So I've got two stories, real quick ones. Two experiences when listening paid off. Okay, my first one is called the county website. Okay, so early on, my staff would come to me with an idea. So they typically go around and say, is there anything I can do to help you? Is there anything I can give you to help you? Is there anything we can do to make your life easier? And they had come to me with this great idea of using the county website. They said, hey Jason, it takes a long time to measure the outside of the house. And I was an energy auditor for many years. When I learned, we had a tape measure. We had to take that tape measure, measure the outside of that house by hand. Very time consuming. I had to draw it on grid paper. That takes a lot of time to do, right? It's a long process. But on the county website, the tax assessor's already gone out there because they want to know how much money they're getting for your property. They've measured it for you. And if you pay for the subscription, you can print the floor plan of the house right away and already have the measurements of the house. What an efficiency, right? Now, every time they go out, they don't have to measure the entire footprint by hand. It's already measured. They just have to verify quickly, make sure that's good. Right? And as they were talking to me, they're like, we really want to do this. And I said, well, what's the problem? And they said, well, it's a subscription fee. And I said, okay, what's a subscription fee? And it was something very minor, $100 a year, $200 a year, very, very minor. And I said, so you're telling me that if I get you the subscription, you're going to gain like a 10% efficiency in your time? And they're like, yep. And I said, well, go ahead and do that. Seems like a really good idea. In the back of my mind, I'm like, I was an auditor for years, and I measured it all by hand. And they just came to me with this amazing idea that you can just measure it quickly on the website.